This is verse 15 of the 3rd chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus has come to John the Baptist, asking John to baptize him. Of course, we have the protest that's raised by John the Baptist, but Jesus gives this rather cryptic response that we have now in verse 15. So apokrythes, from apokrynomai, means to answer. This is the aorist passive participle, passive in form, active in meaning, a deponent verb, of course. So the aorist participle, masculine singular nominative, going along with the subject in the nominative, Jesus. So ho, definite article, Jesus, postpositive da. So but Jesus, answering, it's a participle, apen, said. Customarily translated answered and said, but the participle is better rendered with the ing ending in English. So it's Jesus answering said. A little forceful here. Pros, the preposition, takes the accusative auton, the accusative singular masculine pronoun. So Jesus said to him. And the use of the preposition pros, of course, gives a little bit of additional energy to it. Said to him, implying just a slightly insistent tone of voice, you might say. Aphes, from aphemi, means to forgive or to leave off or to suffer or to permit. It's a rather wide word. Context will determine the meaning. So aphemi. Suffer is the idea, or allow would be the notion. Aorist active, imperative, third person or second person singular. So do it is the idea. RT is the indeclinable adverb now. So just allow it now, do it now. Without giving any extended theological justification, Jesus just rather insists on it. Hutos, another indeclinable adverb. Thus, postpositive gar, because, thus. Prepon. This is from the verb prepo. It actually means to lift something up and would be distinctively applied to something like a tower, you might say, a kind of a proud image there, if you can imagine it. And thus it comes to mean, by extension, it's proper, it's appropriate, and thus we have the notion that it's proper or fitting or behooves us. Well, that would be the idea for thus. This is a participle, so it's the present active participle, neuter, singular, nominative, for, and so it goes along with the verb, so it is fitting, again putting the ing on the participle, for thus it is fitting, humen, the dative, plural of the first person pronoun, so for thus it is fitting for us. This is the indirect object. Plerosai, this is a aorist infinitive. From pleroo, it means to fill something up to the brim. For thus it is fitting for us to fill up to the brim. Pasan, adjective, means all or every. In this case, probably better render it to all. It's modifying the word dikaiasunein, which means righteousness. So thus it is fitting or appropriate for us to fulfill all righteousness. And then tota, this is the indeclinable adverb, then aphiesen, same word, aphemi. This is the third person singular, present active indicative. So he suffers him, literally, auton, the direct object, referring to Jesus. So John has raised a protest. Jesus doesn't give an extended explanation or justification, but simply says, please, John, just do it, and we'll talk about the meaning of it later. Of course, Jesus is called to fulfill every aspect of the law, and part of what the law required at this point was submitting to the preaching of an attested prophet, and John the Baptist certainly qualified as that. And so Jesus, to fulfill every detail of what was required of him, now submits to this baptism. Even though it's a baptism for repentance, Jesus needed no repentance, but he did need to fulfill all that the law required. And thus he submits to this rite administered by John.